We'll go ahead and start recording. Again, I'm going to ask the question just, because I asked you before, I'm going to ask you now. You're okay with me recording this?
Yes.
Cool.
I'm okay.
All right, so we're going to do 2 seconds of silence, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So. Okay, so I'm here, Nicolas. Nicolas is going to be the instructor for our secure Python coding class. And before we started recording, he said that was kind of a misnomer. Nicolas, maybe you could introduce yourself and who you are and why the secure coding class is kind of a misnomer and what it actually is.
Yeah, so again, I'm Nicolas. I have been working in the IT industry for over 10 years now. I started as a security engineer, then went on doing development kind of on purpose, mainly to gain knowledge on how developers actually work and what's their in and out of their day to day. I spent a decent amount of time working as a developer in small startups as well as bigger companies, bootstrapping their programs and starting, the whole application from we are a very small 10 people team or 3 people team up to now we have a bigger company and we're ready to sell to enterprises and kind of the whole progress of how to get there. Then I came back into security, starting and bootstrapping a security program in one of those startups. And one thing that one thing that was apparent to me and why I decided to start this course and start writing this is that most of the courses I have found, they are focused on there is a vulnerability. Here is how you exploit it. Here is the way to fix it. But they don't take into consideration that when you're writing code or developing applications, there are a lot of trade-offs to do. So you usually, when you start and you only have 10 customers, you cannot optimize for 1 million customers. You need to start with your 10 and doing, non-performant code that is good for your use case. And then at some point you will have to go back and modify that. And there is like a very different approach on modifying something that is already written and something that you're writing from scratch. So I have decided to start this course more to show instead of like this is what's wrong, this is how to fix it, more of like this is one way that is wrong, this is one way to fix it, this is why this might not be optimal, this is another way to fix it, and so on. And also the other reason is that for most of developers or most of the books and trainings for developers and the way they are used to working is on here is how we're going to build an application, and you start building on top of what you had before and start making your project bigger. While most of the security training are point in time, here is a bug, let's fix this one. And a lot of context is missing about the feature. So there isn't like why this feature even exists, what is it actually doing, what are we trying to achieve, which is something very important for developers because most of the developers, they have to fix these problems, but they have to fix it in a way that is still going to make the feature relevant and that the feature can still be used by their users. So context is very important in most of the learnings in my experience.
That's awesome. Yeah, because some of the feedback that I've gotten about the class in our Slack channel specifically was that 1, I don't come from a developing background. 2, I wasn't sure what level of course it is. If you're going to college or university, you start with the 100 level course, which are basic. 200 is a little more advanced. 300 is like top shelf. You need to know things. I asked you about the SANS level courses, because normally, most people start with the 500 level courses, which are beginner to intermediate. 600 and 700 are more advanced courses. So where would you consider this to be? What are the prerequisites you need to have to be able to be successful in this class?
Yeah, so I made it. I developed the course thinking on a developer that has no idea about security, or security people that know about security and don't have a lot of development experience. Because I will touch both. I will both touch like this is the feature we need to build. This is how we build it. So I teach some code, very light code, and then here is the code that we generated. This is a vulnerability it introduced, and this is how we fix it. So it will be very introductory. It assumes no knowledge of anybody about pretty much anything. You need to be somewhat familiar with code. You cannot be like, I have never seen code in my life, but you don't need to be an expert developer either. Because it will go both. It will be, this is how you write this feature, this is how you get this code written, this is all that you need to know. And here is also a vulnerability. Here is how you test for this vulnerability. Here is how you add more tools to your tool belt, so you can start testing this in your CI/CD pipeline or your normal manual testing day to day. And then there is how to fix it. So I will put it more on an introductory level, introductory to low level.
Okay. And what are some of the things that they need to have to be in the class? Is there a specific Python IDE you suggest, or do they need a VM, or is there going to be a link that we're going to have in the Eventbrite for that?
I'm working right now on getting the full course in Docker containers. So Docker will be something that you will need on your machine installed. That will make it easier for everybody, so you don't have to install databases and configure databases and everything. I will provide the Docker files, so everything is done. On terms of IDE, it depends. It will be more on a what everybody feels comfortable basis. I'm not going to use one. If you're using IDE, IntelliJ, IDEA or PyCharm, that will be ideal. That's the one I mostly use. I have also written in Visual Studio Code, and it's fine. I also use VI. Some people like Emacs more. I don't think you need one of those. I will suggest just go with the one you're more comfortable with. And if you have no idea which one to choose, go with Visual Studio Code. That's the easiest to get into.
Yep. Yeah, I actually use Visual Studio Code to take notes for PMs and engagement stuff. So yeah, it's got a ton of plugins, and it has a lot of integrations that are available. All right. Yep. So we're getting up close here to our 5-minute mark that I wanted to keep this to. It's on a Saturday morning, at least for Pacific folks. I have it set to 8 a.m. to 9:30 Pacific time. Starting on Saturday, November 2nd, 2019. You're located in South America, I believe, right?
Yes, in Lima, Peru.
Lima, Peru. Okay, and you do know more than one language. So if you are not an English speaker and you speak, with Nicolas, you speak Spanish or whatever it is, that don't let that be an impediment. He can converse in both, so that's something that's available to you. It'll go 5 Saturdays. So it'll be ending on the 30th of November on a Saturday. That'll allow the majority of people around the world to gain access to this. We won't be recording these. Ideally, what we're going to do is do this again in the future, where other people can gain access to it. Maybe we'll do it at a different time of the day, so that way people in the Asia Pacific region can get access to it, because I believe that's around 2 a.m. In the Asia Pacific region. So what we'll do is we'll see about availability of doing it again in the future with people over in the Asia Pacific region, if that's something that interests them. So let me see. You can go to our Eventbrite page. I'll try. So the link I have here is, let me pull this up here. Close that. I'll share my screen out real quick here. There it is. All right, so there's the link to Eventbrite. It is available. You can register. It is $200 for 5 sessions. It'll last anywhere between an hour and a half, right, Nicolas?
Yes.
Okay. There will be some assignments. We'll have some discussion. We'll have a Slack channel for the class specifically. And, like you said, it's not dev heavy, but it's not blue or red team heavy. You'll understand how all these things work in a web app, and how to detect and also avoid making the mistake of coding it in the first place. So yeah, if you're interested, go to this website. You can actually go look for it on Eventbrite. Look for secure Python coding. You can find it fairly easily. And yeah, thanks, Nicholas, for joining us for a little sneak peek into what we would get from this class.
Happy to be here.
Cool. Thanks.